Good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, one and all, wherever you may be, whatever time of day or night you're watching this. So, this is episode 25 of the UK Chinwag podcast thingy. Tell you a little story. My first pinball machine was a Popeye. My second pinball machine was a Jackbot, and the third pinball machine was a Star Trek Next Generation. Now, I'm going to bring Spencer in right now. Where is he? He's right there. Hello, Spence.
That would be me. Good
That'd be
evening.
him. So, as you all know, for regular watchers, we suffered in silence for many years. Myself and Spencer were playing pinball in isolation, completely unaware that there was either a YouTube community a pinball community out there, or that you could go on a forum, or that you could watch pinball on YouTube, which is absolutely crazy, really. But so I got Popeye. I thought what I'll do is I'll find out about Popeye. I'll go and do a little surf on YouTube, have a little look. So I started looking on YouTube, and I started coming across all these videos. Thought, well, this is jolly good fun. I found out on these videos that you could add additional lighting to a pinball machine. You could improve your sound. You could change those really dim bulbs for something a little bit more exciting. And then I started looking at more and more videos. Got the Dream Machine, which was a Star Trek Next Generation. And you needed to do something called a tieback on it, Spencer. I'm not entirely sure what the tieback was for, but I think it stopped one of the boards.
It certainly wasn't for your hair, was it?
It wasn't. There's not enough hair for the tieback. So I started watching a particular channel, and I was blown away by this charismatic guy on television who seemed to be not only well, he sold new pinball machines for one, but he did these wonderful restorations, and he would talk you through it. And because of Spencer, we're lucky enough that he's joining us today, TNT's own Mr. Todd Tuckey.
Some of these idiots going to put me on. I'm a busy man. I don't have time for it.
Todd, we're live.
Oh,
we're live.
Are we live?
Hey.
We're live.
We're live.
I was waiting, all excited. I was waiting. Now I'm here.
I knew you were a nice guy. I knew it.
We set that up. I knew it. Come on. You don't think I'd be that rude?
How are you?
Well,
how you doing?
very well today. It's a nice afternoon. It was a perfect day. It's quiet here. There's nobody working today. We had a man actually in working on a cap because it's Sunday when we're filming. So it's a quiet day.
Is it sunny? Is it? I bet it's not windy and wet like it is here, right?
No, it's not windy or wet, but it's about 52 degrees. We had some bad tornadoes that passed through, but not near here. But
yeah, I saw those on the news.
Those.
Yeah.
But the weather here is perfect. There's no rain scheduled for a week.
Oh, that's cool. I wish it was the same here.
Yeah, it's not scheduled for a minute here. Yeah, we might go over it. Todd, I gave you a bit of the introduction there. I love your videos.
Thanks.
I really do. I think they were a real insight into, as I said, wow, you can actually put additional lights on here. And the guys you got working in the workshop, please tell us about TNT Amusements, please.
Well, we've been doing this. Well, I got into business 42 years ago. I had toured around with it, mind you, before that. So I didn't record that as official because the company wasn't officially made. So I've probably been doing this for 48 years or so. But I started in 79 with TNT Amusements. We started actually with TNT Service because I had another business. It was the same name. And then it morphed into TNT Amusements when we incorporated. And we started out just vending, putting games in stores. And maybe twice a year we would sell a game the first few years. But in 84, business was really bad. The money collections were rock bottom. They were awful. Business was just bad. And at the time I had a partner. I had a partner for about 3 years. And he and I didn't know what to do because the games were collecting almost no money at all. And everybody wanted new games, but the games we were still making payments on, we weren't making enough money. So I said, let's see if we can get rid of some of them. So I rolled a couple out to my street, a very busy street in Northeast Philly, and people were stopping in droves. And out of my driveway, I had a long driveway, we ended up selling over 400 machines in 4 months.
Holy
Sold them
cow.
only on the weekends, and during the week I covered them with tarpaulins. We plugged them in. They were all on with extension cords running from different sockets in our house because you can't have more than maybe 8 games on a 20 amp circuit. And the electric company contacted us because the bill had jumped
Yeah, I can imagine why.
wrong. Yeah, they thought there might have been something wrong because the electric bill, tripled. But we had known why. But out of that, we've proved that there was a market for used games, and machines I sold out of the driveway ranged between $100 and $800. Black and white games I sold for $100 to $150. Color games started at $175 up. I was getting vendors because Fran and I went through all the games we wanted to sell. So vending companies had machines in their warehouses and garages, and they were never going to put them out again. They would drop off black and white games like Rip Off, Star Castle, Armor Attack, Asteroids, Space Invaders, and I paid $25 a piece. Deluxe Asteroids, all the black and white games you can think of. I had at least one, if not 4 or 5 of them. I made them between 100 and 150. It was Space Invaders Deluxe. I said, I'll get 150 for that. So my most expensive black and white game was 150. The color games, Missile Command was my cheapest. It was 175 because it had that big trackball on it.
Yeah, I remember that. It had the trackball on it.
Awful cabinet to convert to a kit because it was short. It was dreadful, and you had wing nuts to get the control panel off. Nobody wanted to build another panel on top to hold the joystick. So they were difficult to convert. That's why so many Missile Commands have survived. Nobody converted them. Now, Atari did come out with a Crystal Castles kit to convert your Missile Command, a real kit. And they sold a lot of them. You put it right in your Missile Command, and bang, you got Crystal Castles instead. Which was very clever because they knew a lot of them had survived.
Do you still put machines on location, Todd?
My last location I closed in 2013. It was in Laundromat, and it was an hour and a half away. It was part of a route I had inherited in Jersey. I kept all these games. The locations were closing. They weren't making money. I had stopped wanting to buy new games, and that Laundromat had a Mega Touch, a Cruising the USA, or maybe Cruising the World. And at the time, we were putting multi-packs in, or multi-Ks, maybe a Pac-Man with a bunch of different Pac-Mans, or the multi-Ks. And every month I'd go and collect it. We would gross $250 for a month. So it'd take $125. But then the monitor needs, the chassis went bad. The Mega Touch was overheated. I said, for $125,
it's just not worth it.
Worth it.
No.
So we told the guy we were closing, and he actually bought a couple games from us, and then he operated himself and made 100% of the money. That was it. I was out of the business, and 100% sales. So I went from 100% vending, pretty much 1 or 2 sales maybe, until we hit 83, 84, to 100% sales.
But you're repairing as well.
Yeah,
it's a massive part what you do, right?
Oh yeah. We always make sure we can fix games that we have sold, so we stand behind them. At the time, we had a 5-year service plan where you got a cheap repair if anything went wrong the first 5 years. Now it's 1 year of low service costs. I can't do 5 years anymore.
Well, that's on a new inbox, right?
No, new in box is tough. The manufacturer gives you 90 days. I hear people constantly saying, what do you mean Stern only gives you 90 days? And I said, well, guess what? Gottlieb, Williams, and Bally only gave you 90 days. The 90 days has always been in place since I got in the business. That was
so they're just following the traditional.
Yeah, and there's no labor.
Okay.
So I would have brand new games break at Betson for like a class of 81. and you're using a lot of. We probably sold 700 of them, and you occasionally have a monitor crap out during the warranty. Well, you had to take the chassis to them. They weren't going to send a man out. You had to take it down there, and then you had to wait a week until they fix it. So, it was difficult to cash in on the warranty. Boy, they didn't want to do it to work either. But
No. It's
generally, distributors, they want to just sell you and not do anything else. They don't want to fix anything. But they're pretty much all gone now, as you all know. A lot of people are self-distributing. I guess you could almost say I'm doing that. See, now I have a customer base of over 13,000 people, and they frequently will trade in. 20% of those people trade in every year. So 20% of my sales are trade-ins, so which is really good. Yeah, who's whistling? I hear a whistler. Somebody has showed up on a day off. Hey, Frank.
I got
I'm going to be now. Frank, this is Frank.
Oh, what have you got?
Frank.
Frank made
Hi, Frank.
Hi.
These fellows are from England.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Frank.
Or they say the United Kingdom, but
We definitely say England. Don't worry.
England. Yeah, we're English.
Frank.
Oh,
Oh,
what
you
have
know
you
what?
got
The green screen doesn't like that. The board is green.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let me hold it. Maybe it'll show up better. No, it won't. These are Frank's battery boards.
Okay.
Frank patented these. These go into all pinball machines that use AA batteries
This is
Yeah.
or rechargeable batteries. Yes, that's the red tent. Yep.
I had to keep buggered it up. I had to
He comes in frequently. And of course they run on the standard batteries.
To stop the batteries leaking, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you get rid of that
really
battery, you
nice.
put Frank's battery board in. There's an extra blocking diode, fits nice and clean right in the spot. And then if the battery goes dead, you're not going to have any leakage, number one. And number two, you can get the battery at the store. If you order them online, they're only $1. So you're
Yeah,
not
they're really
buying
cheap.
3 AA alkalines.
Are they called Frank's battery boards on your
Frank's
online shop?
battery boards, order
Yeah,
on
you've
website.
credit. He gets the credit, does he?
Well, you can buy them direct. Frank sells them on his website. Frank, what's your website?
No Quarters Arcade.
NoQuartersArcade.com. You can order them direct.
Should we put a link? Should we put a link down below?
Well, if I
Well,
ship,
Yes.
if I ship,
To England?
yeah, overseas, but it has to go. I used to just ship first, package, but now because of stuff getting lost overseas, it's got to be
Say
it's
it.
got to be priority or DHL. which is
DHL or
30,
priority?
40 some dollars more.
It's not
for-
cheap. I still ship overseas.
I do.
Mm.
I do. No, well, you got to buy it on the
I
So
did.
you do? Oh, you do ship overseas, Todd?
I do.
Okay.
But
That's good.
I just got a box back. Where is it now? I shipped a T-shirt and a hat to a fan in Australia
Oh,
a
good
month
man.
ago, and it just came back. United States is finished shipping to Australia. They're done.
Really?
Really?
Everything return, they will not do Australia and I think 11 other countries. Only way
Wow.
you can ship to Australia now is express priority.
Mm.
They will not ship anything. They're returning everything because the stuff's getting lost. They won't do priority mail either. I shipped it.
Australia's a big place.
They're losing everything.
Yeah, and there's only 5 people live there, so
Yeah,
it's hard to
absolutely.
find them.
Very small.
Yeah.
Because most of them are over here. You know that, don't you?
Well, it's interesting. I ship games to Australia, to England, and using a company called IQ Global.
Yeah.
A customer wanted me to pick up a game and ship it to him. I just looked it up. IQ Global is no longer shipping games to Australia. Done. They're not interested. So everything is stopped. It's very scary. Frank is testing a. Could you turn the volume down a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop.
It's Frank's testing his
Middle of
battery
my
board.
pack. Well, listen, this means we're a working shop, aren't we?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. No, that's
How
good.
many machines, both in repair, I guess, yeah, including arcade machines, how many machines can you cater for in your workshop?
How many machines could I?
How many machines do you have at any one time in your workshop?
In the shop.
So many games that the guys can't move around or work on them. That's
Some of our videos were so packed in the back. I have 2 5,000 square foot warehouses that I own.
And both of them could fit inside a Mike's shop 5 times over.
Yeah, that's right. Mike and Automated is huge. We did.
I think I saw one. You did a video of a tour of his place. Yeah,
but they here at TNT, it's probably safe to say we have maybe 400 games.
That's pretty impressive.
The 5,000 square foot here in the building we're filming in is our showrooms, which is 2,000 square foot. Then we have this area where I do the studio, which is 1,000 square foot. But we're also storing stuff because we ran out of room. And then the shop in the back is 2,200 square foot maybe.
Wow.
That's where we work on everything. And next door, 5,000 square foot is just storage.
Cool.
So
it's I've been watching some of your videos. Chris put me onto your channel. I've been sort of cramming some videos, and it's obvious you've got an encyclopedic knowledge of a lot of the inner workings of these machines.
But the old brain is losing track of stuff.
Well, but what makes me really laugh is that there'll be a fully powered up machine, and you'll just stick your fingers into it, and it's obviously years of experience. How many times have you been electrocuted?
I don't wear my wedding ring anymore.
Good man.
So I
Very
can't.
sensible.
But
But
it does instant death.
It
not
make
from
me
the
laugh.
marriage. Oh, my beautiful wife. Oh, Frank.
What I noticed, Todd, is when I'm watching a lot of these videos, a lot of people are sending in coffee and donuts and cakes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot
Frank,
of. How are you getting all this free coffee?
Not pee in it. Fill it with that wonderful coffee. I just opened up a new batch. I have about 30 pounds. Yes, please. The no fat. You don't want me to get fat, do you, Frank?
Come on, Frank.
Come on.
Frank. So
Frank.
Don't do that to him.
But we have about 30 pounds of coffee I haven't opened yet, but we go through a pound every other day.
Yeah,
So
I'm not
we
surprised.
drink a lot of coffee. So, but now people are sending us other stuff. One guy brings in cookies and donuts, and a lot of times people send us lunch. They say one guy sent a huge amount of food, all the boys to eat lunch. We have several regulars. Phil, who recently retired, he comes down and helps us. Has some fun. 2 lumps of sugar. No sugar. Oh, by the way, this is a Pac-Man mug, and the maze.
Oh yeah.
See now, the maze and the creatures have appeared when you put in hot coffee.
I gotcha.
So
Nice.
earlier, if people were watching, you couldn't see any of the creatures.
Well, my granddad used to have a mug like that, and there would be a lady in a swimsuit, and it would go, and she would reveal herself. Yes,
yeah.
depending on the temperature of the beverage, you know. So yours is a lot more family friendly than Granddad's.
I'll bet your mother liked that, didn't she?
He wouldn't have dared show Mum his naked lady tea
Certain
mug.
things are never shared with the wife.
But I think he had a bit of a problem actually with it because he actually had a pen as well. If you turned it upside down, do you remember those, Spencer?
Yes. Yeah. I think everybody had one of those
at the drugstore. Oh man, they were fun.
Yeah.
Class.
Absolutely. How many games do you think you get to sell new in? Because I know Spencer wants to touch on some of the older Bally Williams ones. What about new in box? How many are you selling a year?
Well, not as many as we used to. Not as many as you think. Maybe
why do you not sell as many as you used to? Sorry, and I've given you another question there. Why not?
Well, now it's like impossible to get games. Now it's really bad.
Is that supply or just too much demand?
Supply. Oh, yeah. Well, the demand is super high. Supply is super high. So put your face in, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, Frank.
Hey.
We have the camera hidden. The Streamlabs. Yeah,
Wow.
StreamYard.
Yeah.
My daughter almost got a job at StreamYard too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
sir.
All right, I'm gonna run some classes real quick.
Thank you,
So
baby.
Brian, you can drop the boards off my phone.
Good. Thank you.
All right,
We'll
I'll
see you
see you.
tomorrow.
Thank you, Frank.
Bye,
Bye,
girls.
guys. Thank you.
Cheers,
Bye.
Frank.
He brought his 2 daughters in too. Frank's been with me. Oh my God, so many years. My longest. I have 2 employees that have been here since like '83. So years of working here, and everybody gets a personality. If you watch our channel, you know everybody. Like Kurt sleeps late. I have to call him 3 or 4 times to wake him up. But he's a night person, so he'll stay here late at night, and and everybody has their own.
But that's a part of it. So I think that's a part of the allure of your channel, and everybody loves what's going on. Everybody loves your relationship with everybody there, and seeing behind the scenes.
And things that really happen, that we keep it family friendly. I have to do a lot of blooping, and some people wanted a live feed. I said I can't do that. Not while the guy's working, because I have no control. And see, YouTube is very interesting. I don't have to approve stuff, get stuff approved. They take my word that it's G-rated.
Yeah.
And I've never had anybody complain, never had an issue, and we keep it family friendly because I have little ones watching. The problem with the live feeds, every time we do live ones here and there, occasionally a curse word gets in there. And it's very difficult, because I don't want to lose YouTube's. Now, here's what YouTube does. If they like your channel, if they like the content and they like the G, they will put you on their search screens more often.
Yeah.
So a TNT video will probably be on that block of videos at the end of a pinball video you watched from another channel. One of mine. So your thumbnails become important.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to put you on this thumbnail.
Then people will know I'm in it.
I've got to balance that up. You're right. I've got to balance that up. Maybe it'll be maybe a big question mark. Mystery guest.
Mystery guest.
Will he be here? Well, you can always change the thumbnail
afterwards. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. See, we've got a forum. So it's not as big as Pinside. We've got a forum, the UK forum, Pinball Info, and they're going to be really shocked that you're on. So I think I might change the thumbnail afterwards and just go with special guest. So Spencer, you wanted to talk to Todd about older games, his favourite games.
Yeah, I again, I was stumbling through your videos, and the first thing I did was check Theatre of Magic. Okay, let's see if he's got a Theatre of Magic video.
Yes,
and I stumbled on your home theatre, and I was instantly very jealous.
And when I sold it, I could have probably, now of course I got a lot more for it.
Yeah.
At the time, people thought it was overpriced. And I said, you know what? Where are you going to find one? I bought new personally. It was interesting. It was Christmas. It was like Christmas Eve, and I was playing it because I had never really played it a lot. And I was on the phone with my wife, and I said, maybe it was the day before Christmas. I said, if nobody buys this for Christmas, I'm taking this home. And she says, well, go right ahead. It was a great year. We had a record year that year. Now, this is rather interesting. We had a record year in 2004. That was our best year. When theater came out, I think it was 96.
It's not, I think it's 95 it came out, I think.
But this year, 2021, will in fact be our record year. Sales are just booming. And we will break all of our other records this year. Last year it was kind of sucky, but we're doing well because I'm doing the best offer sales. We're about to do number 46. That's generate money. We ship a lot of eBay. I've always got 800 auctions up on eBay.
Really?
We do a lot of eBay stuff, and we ship overseas.
Yay!
But not.
But prices over here have gone Way high.
Yeah, crazy prices.
here. Do you know what happened? I'll tell you. What happened to the pinball prices? That's simple. It all happened about 2.5, 3 months ago. The Banning, California auction of the museum.
Yes.
And here's what happened. I'll tell you exactly what happened. The museum, the man that owned it, a wonderful man, Mr. Weeks, loved him. As a matter of fact, I even interview him and tell him what happened when we went to the Pinball Expo in Chicago last month.
Yeah.
So I ran into him and I said, you did this. Really? And I said, yep. Because at that auction, to give you a preemptory, he had to move out of the building. He had to get rid of all of his games. God, he had hundreds of them. And he had already sold the building to another operator. He was supposed to take all that equipment and move it. And the place he was going to move it to, they couldn't get the licensing to open it, even as a museum. There was a lot of mix-up, a lot of grief, and he had to make the decision to dump. He thought it was going to be a disaster. He did. He thought, yes, some stuff will sell. But you see, the New York Times picked it up.
Yeah.
Here's
I mean,
what
we heard about it over here.
That's right. New York Times advertised this gigantic, huge museum of pinball machines and arcade games is going to sell. They had big articles in the New York Times. And guess who read those articles? People who knew nothing about pinballs or arcades, but they were loaded. Very wealthy people said, pinball? Yeah, I used to play that. Yeah. So they're wealthy in their own business. They have millions of dollars. They don't care what something costs or whatever. So suddenly they hear about this auction at a museum. See, everybody got this in their head that stuff was museum quality. No. Some of it was nice, but a lot of it was just so-so. Playfields were worn, never painted. Cabinets were beat up. But the games played because Jonathan, that owned it, got a lot of volunteers to come in and get the games going. He'd only had it open 2 or 3 days a year. It was a love project, a passion project for him. These wonderful games, and people donated a lot of them. He got them working, a lot of rare stuff, but stuff some people don't want anyway, even though it's rare. But when this auction started, I contacted, by the way, there's only one big moving company in the whole country, one company that is connected to all the moving companies around the United States. It's Beltman, Precision Moving. They go by different names, but there's only one phone number to call. And you call them, and they will have the moving company in your area pick the game up, and it'll get transported to whatever location it's going to go to, and you get actually a fair price.
Yeah, we've got one guy that does.
We've got one guy.
Martin.
We've got one guy called.
Oh, it's Martin, isn't it? Yeah. It's Martin.
It's the size of Pennsylvania, guys. Let's face it.
Yeah.
So they come out and wrap it. They take it, even with the legs on. They'll move it with the legs on and the head up.
Okay.
Wow.
They'll pick it up and take it. So anyway, I called them up and I said, I'm going to make a large. I had $75,000 in place, ready to go. And I called Beltman up and I said, I want to see how much it'll cost to ship a tractor trailer from California, 3,000 miles away, to TNT Amusements.
For the auction, you were looking to buy at the auction.
Yes, at the auction. I got a great price. Believe it or not, right to the penny. They said you could get 48 machines in a truck, pinball machines or video games, because they fold up about the same size, and we'll do it for $8,300. 8,300. I mean, that's how close it was for 48 games. Captain's Auctions that ran the auction, were charging $125 to take the legs off, fold the head, and wrap them. So I'm sitting there calculating. I said, well, let's see. I get 43, 8,300. It's about 200, 300. It's going to cost me about $350 and change to ship each pinball.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, let's see.
Sorry, how far is this? How many miles?
3,000 miles. The other
Okay,
side of the
yeah.
Right. Sure. Okay. Fine.
I'm saying that. Well, let's see. Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, if I had to tack 350 on, I could safely pay $1,600 for that.
Yeah.
Then I'll have about 2,000 into it. Then by the time I shop it and renovate it, I can get about 4,500. So this is my thinking, okay? And then there's Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Yeah, let's see. Well, I could probably pay maybe $650 for that. So I did all these guys. I'm entering all my pre-bids in, and but I'm all ready for the auction.
Yeah. You got to buy some pinballs. Yeah.
I think the first item, the first bid was above what I wanted to pay. It was crazy. Nightmare on Elm Street went for $5,500 plus 18%. The premium.
Yeah.
$6,500 is crazy prices. Insanity. It was like the Close Encounters went for $3,500. It was crazy.
We had a similar thing happen here I think it's about 20 years ago now. There was a big company down on the South Coast here, and they had a huge warehouse full of pinballs, and the guy died. So they had to basically sell off his estate, and this huge warehouse full of pinballs was part of it. There's a few video games in there as well, but most of it was pinballs. And there was this feeding frenzy. And as you say, the same thing happened. Pinballs that everybody thought there were going to be bargains there. The people turning up with trailers and expecting to come away with, I don't know, Theatre of Magic or Addams Family for half the going rate for it.
Right.
And they ended up paying not only more than the going rate, but significantly more than the going rate. And then afterwards, they're not just machines, but spare parts and boards and all sorts of spares and bits and pieces. eBay went crazy afterwards because there was just this glut of machinery and spares and all sorts of things going onto eBay. And the prices went through the roof. Absolutely through the roof.
And a lot of the new buyers and new collectors weren't aware of pricing. Now, did you notice that Stern raised all the prices about 2 weeks at the end of the auction?
Yeah.
Everything went like this. And do you know why? Why? Because people were paying $12,000 for the Munsters.
Yeah.
People paid $15,000 for Elvira when it was $8,000 brand new. And did you notice Stern had their $25,000 Elviras? Everybody,
the false
edition.
Nobody's going to buy them. They sold them out in 2 hours. 200 of them.
Yeah,
that's We've got our own view on that, and it's Well, what's your opinion on it?
They're beautiful machines.
Yeah, well, I had no buyer behind me until about 2 weeks ago. Not the lady herself, obviously the machine.
Well, oddly enough, in the video I posted last night's video, we'd gotten an Elvira. I think one of the last ones in the box, and we had sold it for $8,500, but that was like 3 or 4 months ago. If I had kept that in the freaking box, I could have gotten $12,000 to $15,000 for it now.
Do you think they'll make any more? I know.
Third is so far behind. We got a date. Guardians of the Galaxy. Wait a minute. Let me see. No.
Avengers.
The character in the red.
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
Deadpool. August.
They're going to do another run in August of Deadpool, are they?
August.
Yeah.
Great. Let's just wait.
How far behind do you think they are? Because some people say they got 20,000 on back order. Would that be right?
At least.
Really?
Easy. Mike has hundreds ordered, and he's only going to get so many. Mike's the biggest distributor, I think in the country. But Stern has opened up a whole bunch of new distributors. There's tons of little distributors all over the country, and each are getting a little pocket of games. It's a great idea to grow. First of all, you have to be really stupid not to realize that the pinball machine market is growing fast.
Are there more people getting into it? Do you think more people are getting into pinball?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Of course, it's entertainment you can't get from Walmart. So
No.
you got a product here that's unique. It's hand built. It's holding up well. The resale value is crazy. You know, things you bought, they're worth more than what you paid, and you've been playing them.
Yeah.
You could buy all these. Look at all the wonderful mods you can buy.
Yeah.
You can make your machine so neat and add all this stuff. I remember when people tore me apart when we would do little extras. I used to put color condoms on the clear bulbs.
Yeah.
I've seen the videos. Brilliant.
Yeah.
This was years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Okay.
that's not original. It's not original. I wanted to be. They freaked out when I started.
Yeah.
I was the first person in the entire country in '99 to install lithium batteries, not the AA ones, but we took the battery holder out. We put 2 tabs in, and I took a lithium battery that had wires on it, put 2 plugs on it, plugged it in, board safe. Started in 1999. They were raging that I would have the nerve to take out the original factory battery holder. And I said, that's because these morons will forget there's a battery holder in and it'll leak. And
Yeah.
I'm getting games traded back in. I didn't know there was a battery holder in it. And I told them when they bought the game, you have to change the battery every 2 years. I didn't remember that. They lose the keys. They forget about the batteries. They forget even how to take the glass off. By number 1 service call, do you know what it is? The game's dead. Yeah, the
game's dead. They haven't turned it on.
I said, how about the on-off switch? Oh, no. We have it on a strip. And we turn the strip on, and that game doesn't come on. Well, I said, the game has an on-off switch. Oh, well, nobody would have turned it on. I said, just walk over to it and try it.
Yeah.
And, of course, they flick it on, it comes on. And you know what the next thing they say? Well, who turned it off? And I can say, well, I can tell you it wasn't me.
Yeah, well, but that's people. That's people. So
Yeah,
I used to be a plumber, and one of the biggest calls I used to get when people used to move into a new property, they say to me, "Please, we don't seem to have any water in the house." I say, just turn the stopcock on. Look under the kitchen sink. There'll be a stopcock there. So I think people are like that anyway, just turning things on and off. In terms of the modifications, and it was really your channel that made me aware that there were modifications. But you're right, some people like to keep it original. In fact, we've got a friend who doesn't like modifications at all.
Yes.
But we've also
in every crowd now.
Yeah. But look at this wonderful thing here that one of our guys produces on his plastic cutting machine, which has for speaker grills.
And the mods, in my opinion, are wonderful. You can make it now. I guess there's a point. The key is make sure your mods aren't going to blow the game up.
With the node boards.
Yes, the node boards. See, the new Stern spike system, I did not like it when it first came out. I was very upset because I'll tell you exactly why. We had experimental games. They called them the pins. And Stern made 2 or 3 models. They were X-Men they were superhero ones. They were home pins. The playfield didn't even lift up.
Do you mean the little Star Wars things?
Yes. No, not the new Star Wars.
Not the home pin, no?
No. These were made 10 years ago.
Okay.
It was they were experimenting with the spike. They had the spike system in them, but you had to crawl under the machine to work on the flippers, or turn the whole machine sideways and lay it on its side to get to it was dreadful. It was so awful. And that was my introduction to the spike system. And they used paper ribbons to connect the circuit board. They were paper, like they were ribbon cables. It was horrible. It was so horrible. And we had all this trouble, and we had I was asked to do service calls on them. I never carried them or sold them, but we had a lot of trouble with them, and I was not happy with Spike. But when WrestleMania came out, the first real Spike system, we had almost no trouble. Almost every problem with a Stern pinball with the Spike system is the first 2 or 3 days it's out of the box. And it's little stuff. It's usually loose cables. And we had that one bad node board, one of the original node boards. Stern got rid of that, and they updated the board with they bulletproofed it basically, so you can't even order the original board anymore. So one of the node boards that you can buy now is the newer one, which doesn't go bad unless you're stupid and short them out. See, the stupidity factor is there. The old alligator clips. If I put a mod on a game, baby, it's not going to have an alligator clip on it.
No.
It'll have a plug. I'll wire it in. I'll put a little 2-prong plug or 3-prong, depending what it is, and then connect it. I'll add a plug so if the guy wants to take it off, he can unplug it and not unclip it. Because when he puts the alligator clips back on, all he has to do is touch this thing and blow the thing up, blow the board up. And Stern's not going to fix that for free. So you just have to be careful now with the mods. That's the number one issue right now, is people are like kind of stupid when it comes to putting stuff on. We just did a Led Zeppelin. As a matter of fact, I'm editing the video now. I'm in front of my editing computer. And he sent us $2,200 worth of mods to add to his Led Zeppelin Premium. I mean, the premium is already loaded with stuff.
Yeah.
But he got some really nice stuff, including that topper that goes on the Guns N' Roses. They make a little adapter kit so you can put it on top of your Led Zeppelin with the moving spotlights. That was $1,500.
Yeah.
Boy, that thing was gorgeous with all these mods, and we got them to fit just right. So it was a nice update, and they're connected right. So there's no chance they'll blow out the Stern boards. So we were really careful when we got everything attached and plugged in. So
yeah, because we've been talking here on our forum about sort of quality control from the PIM manufacturers these days. What's your view on the quality of machines coming out? You deal with them. You have to open the box. And you have to deal with the issues as they come up.
I would say that the quality control has been the same since I got in the business.
Okay.
Really? Okay. That's surprising.
My opinion. So I started buying brand new games in '79. My first brand new game was a Williams Tri-Zone. And they closed it out because Gorgar had just come out and nobody wanted pinballs that didn't talk. Now everything had to talk. So they closed it out. I think it was $1,200, brand new in the box. And almost every game I've opened has needed little things. You have to put a bend in the gate that flips open. You have to do some Sharpie touch-ups, all little stuff, loose plugs, loose cables, stuff I wouldn't think of. The only game we had a ton of problems with, every one we opened, was The Wizard of Oz, the first run, because it was a new company and they were learning. They were learning. Magnets were in upside down, so there was wires in, pinched. They had to figure out, the wire ties that hold the harnesses together?
Oh, yeah.
They have a setting on how tight.
Yes.
If you make them too tight,
they'll pinch the cable.
The one of the wires, and then it's intermittent. Stupid things like that. And they got their act together. So you don't have those problems anymore. But we always had to spend about 3 or 4 hours getting all the bugs out of the Wizard of Oz's when they first came in. But what a beautiful game.
Oh, stunning.
But the thing is it's a new company, it's new stuff. And when I think about it, wait a minute, I just thought of something. Laser War, which is a Data East game, that was their first game. The first stereo pinball machine. One of my most favorite games. Laser War is such a great game. As a matter of fact, Gary Stern has one in his office. We had to do mods. We had to add fuses to some of the coils, individual fuses under the playfield, because for some reason they would lock on, and then you'd fry the board, and Data East at the time put the driver transistors so close together, you would melt the board. Williams takes them out more.
Yeah.
So the initial runs of Data East, you had to add fuse blocks. You put a 1 amp slow blow in, the fuse would blow. Put a new fuse in, you were okay. It's sort of like the Gottlieb System 1s. Sinbad, I think Close Encounters was modded. Cleopatra, I think the first 7 System 1s, the small transformer was not fused. You had to put in, Gottlieb figured out you had to put in a 1 amp fuse, because every 2,000 or 3,000 times you turned the game on, for some reason that transformer didn't start right.
You just draw too much current and
blow up. It would literally smoke. And people are always looking for that little transformer now, because nobody ever added it. When I get one of those games and nobody's added it, Gottlieb issued a bulletin to put a fuse in. A lot of my videos show the fuse and say you have to put this fuse in. It's going to cost you $5 at most. You don't even have to splice wires, and you can cut the wire. There's enough leads. You just put a screw holder, and a 1 amp slow blow, and then one setup every 3,000 or 4,000 times the fuse will blow. It's easy. You put a new fuse in, game's back on, and no smoke transformer. And nobody can explain it. Why that happens. And it's just a lot of them. A couple of my videos I show. When they got the. They were very good about sending the updates to you. You got them by mail back then. You get this update, and most of the vendors went, threw it away.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. Sort of like recall notices you get from your car. Half of them are never done. They're never recalled. Nobody ever does anything. They just, I'm not bothering with that. I'm not going to give up a day work to drive the car and to have them fix it, even if it's free. Certain things like that happen, and that's helped, make people unhappy when they buy a new game. I also think, though, that it's helping, because if they buy the game from me, and yesterday I sold a Heavy Metal. That was a Stern game. He did not want me to open it. We kind of wanted to, because I never had one. That was my one and only sale for Heavy Metal. The guys wanted to open the carton so bad, I had to put a big sign on it. Do not open. Customer wants it sealed in the box. Now, he already knows. I said, look, you better have your Sharpies. I said, you're going to have to do adjustments. He said, no problem. So he knew, he already pre-warned, when you buy a new game, you're going to have to do stuff with it a little, probably. But we just opened a Willy Wonka up. One of the last 200 made, they found, they had 200 playfields that got 2 years to cure. They made 200 Willy Wonkas. We actually sold 2 so far. I just got them. Work perfect. 0 adjustments. Nothing.
Wow.
What about playfields? As you mentioned that, Jersey Jack had obviously, really bad press with the playfields on Guns N' Roses. Did you hear much pushback on that?
Here's the funny thing. It's like these machines, when let's turn the clock back. When they made Gorgar, Gorgar was made for one purpose only. Why was Gorgar made? Why was it manufactured?
To make money.
Yes.
To put in an arcade, to take money for a couple of years, and then out of the door.
5 years.
Yeah.
Pinball machines, video games were designed for 5 years and then disposed of. That's it. Commercial equipment. The dishwasher in the restaurant that you used every day, well, in 5 years, 6 years, its life is finished, possibly. They throw it out and get a new one. No one takes it home and rebuilds it. I mean, there's probably obscure people, but pinball machines were not designed to be loved and worshipped and cherished and look at the colors and the beauty. No, they were made to make money. The designers were forgotten. You made a good game there. Thanks. Make another good one. Make one that we can sell a lot of.
Yeah.
That's all the president. The president say, wow, what flow. Oh, I love all these things. They didn't talk about that. They They were made to make the company money, not to be beautiful or thought about, or you go to shows and the designers come. That was like crazy. Nobody would have thought of that. They didn't have pinball shows back then. Nobody gave a crap. They just wanted the game to make money, then you get rid of it, get another one.
The only reason it looked good was so that you would put, more money in it in the arcade. It would attract
So
you
people
to the
said,
machine.
Williams makes more games. I mean, Gottlieb was the industry standard years ago, for mechanicals. They were the mechanical games. They sold more mechanicals than any of the other manufacturers. But when the digitals came out, even the early Bally games had more things going on than the early Gottliebs. Then Gottlieb said, listen, we got to get rid of System 1. We better come out with System 80, which was a step up, but it certainly didn't have the programming or sound that Williams and Bally did. Bally was way ahead of everybody with games like Centaur. Oh, my God, they were light years ahead. They were light years ahead of
Great, gorgeous game.
Stern. Even Stern, when they came out with, let's say, Lightning. Lightning was no Black Knight. It was, they were interesting, and people love them now. They see them in a different light. Everything is differently, but the collecting started in the late 80s. People had game rooms. They wanted real arcade games, but they didn't want the dull ones, the mechanicals. Very few people really. Mechanical games were great when you were a kid in the 60s and 70s and you had a real pinball machine in your basement. But kids in the late 80s and 90s, they didn't want to play an old mechanical with it slow and whatever. The mechanical people are going nuts right now.
I know what you mean. They were playing Outrun. They were playing Outrun in an arcade, so they had a different expectation. Yeah.
I don't. I think the mechanicals are neat and everything. They're amazing that they actually work with all those wires and relays. They're a beautiful design, all built here in America, and they're well thought out and lots of programming for mechanical days. Mechanical game is like 5,000 doorbell circuits. Just on-off switches. That's all. Yeah. But when the games started to be appreciated for what they were, and when the pinball show started, Pinball Expo is, of course, the initial pinball show, the first pinball show, where they started to get the designers in. And these designers were like, people love my games. And it's 20 years later, and people think I'm really great.
Yeah, hero worship.
Superstar game designer.
Yeah, I mean, you did put all your heart and effort, came to work every day. You designed this beautiful piece of equipment for people to make money with. But now they're not making money, are they? They're in people's homes. Probably 99% of every game sold is going into a private home or a flat rate arcade. They're not looking at the cash box anymore.
Yeah.
Those days are done.
So what were you saying about the playfield for Guns N' Roses, though?
Okay, the playfield. The problems weren't really with Jersey Jack. I think with the company that were making the playfields. Yeah. And they weren't being allowed to cure, to dry.
Okay. Right.
And if you get really anal and crazy, it's sort of like if you bought a beautiful $40,000 or $50,000 car, and suddenly the paint was chipping around the door handle, you'd be pretty upset.
Yeah.
Because you bought the car for its looks. You didn't buy the car, let's say, to drive it to work every day, and it was a beater. You bought the car for its looks. So people pay all this money for an expensive pinball machine, and they expect it to maintain its beauty, for a long time. And I guess at the time, I couldn't get Guns N' Roses, so I wasn't having an issue.
Sure. Okay.
With sales. The first runs were having big issues. Now, I understand everything's been ironed out, and all the recent machines released have extra protection. Stern had some issues, too, where the artwork was getting ugly around the posts. Well, they came up with a great solution.
Don't put any there.
The artwork doesn't go under the post anymore.
No, you actually see the grain of the wood, don't you? And around the slings as well. It's just plain. Yeah.
The wood is showing, and I always tell people when they buy them, I said, look, you paid all this money for it. I realize you just paid $10,000, but it's still not fine furniture. You're playing it. You got a steel ball crashing into stuff all over the playfield. You're paying for the experience and the beauty and rhythm and sound and light show and the huge in-depth rules, at least after they've been finished. Obviously they come out and they do updates to the rules and fix code and things. You can't let little things like bother you. Of course, well, I don't like this. And I say, well, if you're going to get that upset, you should maybe stick with an older game where you can see what's happened over the years. Wear marks that come in play. The Bally's playfield, the paint always gets that black, there's little spider things in it. I mean, you have to get down and look at it real close to see it. But the playfields are never perfect. Inexplicably, the Gottliebs, unless they were played and the account didn't maintain it, the owner of the machine didn't maintain the wax on the playfield, those playfields are remarkably beautiful if they were wiped down and cleaned. And they held up a lot better than, let's say, the Williams and the Bally playfields, the Gottlieb ones. And they got hammered too. And, so for the long run, it's tough to say. If I bought a brand new, let's say, Ghostbusters, when was that? About 5 years ago. If it was 1979, and I put that Ghostbusters on my route and ran it for 5 years, when they were playing it hundreds and hundreds of times a week, I can't tell you what it would look like.
Yeah.
No, it would be roached by now, wouldn't it?
Right. And when you're in a flat rate arcade, it couldn't technically be played the whole day. But when the next new game comes out, people sometimes move on to the next game. But it's hard to guess. In a private home, the game should stay gorgeous.
Do you think now that the market's changed, that the manufacturers need to change and get better QA to and especially with the money that they're charging for the machines now, they got really expensive.
I think that it's obviously Stern and Jersey Jack are listening. I mean, they're listening. They watch the videos. They absorb a lot of stuff, and they listen to how they can maybe improve things. If you watch, actually, I don't know if it went up yet. They had a tour of Stern, a virtual tour for the Pinball Expo, and that really explained a lot. And it was the first time, in my opinion, that we saw every room in Stern and all the effort they put into this stuff. I didn't even know, because you wouldn't, because when we went through the physical walkthrough tours, we only saw, if you were lucky, maybe a fourth of the place.
I think I see you doing a tour of Jersey Jack. I think I saw a video of you touring Jersey Jack.
He go everywhere. That's Jack Canary. He's such a great guy. Let me tell you, Jack put his heart and soul into those machines. He had his face on that assembly line constantly, but he's one man, and he loves his product, but he's one man, and he can't have his face in all 1,000 Wizard of Oz's. He can't personally say, wait a minute, you tighten that screw too high. I saw with my eyes settings. The people putting them together had to do certain things. The drill had to be set for this tension, and what the wire ties that I told you about. Yeah, I didn't know they had a tension. Who the hell knew that? But they do. Everything is adjustable and settable. And you have to get it right. Nobody's having any harness issues with any of the Jersey Jack games, are they? No. So,
well, let's be fair, they're beautiful games.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
the best, in my opinion.
and the
best,
problem they're
best looking
having
games.
is not something they made. It's a play field.
No. Listen, I love Guns N' Roses, by the way. What an experience! It's only because you said, the only reason I picked up on it is you said about the Wonkers, and you said 2 years have been a box of the Cure and the playfield. So that's why I picked up on it. In terms of Jersey Jack, though, I mean, I wish two things. Number one, I wish they produced more. Number two, I think the world of pinball could really do with them producing more, because Stern are producing, and I love Stern. In fact, you said Ghostbusters. There's Ghostbusters in the house. I've got a Deadpool. There's an Avengers Infinity Quest there. I love Stern. I really do. But I wish Jersey Jack would produce a bit more to give them a bit more competition, you know?
Jersey Jack games have an awful lot more stuff going on.
Yeah.
But you're paying a premium. They're not going to make standard editions anymore. They're just going to make two, limited and collectors, which I think is very smart. There's no need for the standard edition. But you're paying more too. And you will pay more for the next one. Everything's going to go up. It's going to, as the market feeds it. But then again, you can sell your old game. I'll give you an example. One of my employees, he bought a brand new Iron Maiden. Okay. Back then it was 6,000 or 5,900, something like that. Well, he sold it for 8,000 cash. Okay.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
So he played it. He had fun with it. He didn't play it a lot, but he made himself $2,100 and had it for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
The old days that didn't happen. You know,
No.
I used to sell Adams families for $27.99, $31.99 used, $35.99, $4,500. I just sold one for $11,000, and everybody said I gave it away. It was like new.
Yeah.
And if I waited one more month, I could have gotten probably 14, because we did everything on that. But who knew? Who knew? I didn't know. If I did, I would have bought everything. You know, I used to buy Cactus Canyons. They were closed out because Williams was bringing out the new system, Pinball 2000. Circus Voltaire was a dud. It was a disaster. It was a dud.
Why? Oh, this is on my wish list.
Yeah. Chris
Nobody
I really
loves
want
that.
one.
Yeah.
I bought 10, $21.99, brand new in the box, 10 at a time. I had to buy 10, and I did. And I bought them, and I sold them for $35.99, $36.99, brand new. So all I had to do was open them up, and then do the little, you had to fiddle around with it for half an hour, but nobody wanted it at the vending. It didn't make any money. But pinball
I can imagine.
Pinball was going down fast.
That's because it was that time when they did the Pinball 2000.
Well, the Joker comes up, but he didn't talk like Rudy.
Yeah.
See, the Funhouse was huge, friggin' huge. Okay. By the way, I didn't know this. Now I had a brand new Funhouse. I bought it. Never knew something about Funhouse, and I'm willing to bet most of your viewers don't know either. I'm going to tell you.
Do.
I haven't even said this in a video yet because I haven't had a Funhouse since. Did you know on Funhouse, if you play more than one player, if you play 2, then you push a button, you play 3, you play 4. Rudy calls each of the players a different name throughout the game.
I didn't know that.
So if you're player 3, you're going to be called a certain name for the rest of the game.
I take it it's not rude.
No. You hear him say it when you play one player. You'll hear him go through the different names. But if you select more than one player, you'll have different. Every player has their own name.
Have you seen that Funhouse 2.0?
I saw like a brief video. It looks great. I'm not a fan of the art, but
it basically gives it a DMD, doesn't it? Really? Yeah.
A beautiful. It looks great, and it sounds like it's priced cheap. It's $2,000, I think. So to me, that's cheap. I mean, a color DMD is $400.
Yeah.
and you're getting a new soundboard, it may be too cheap. I think it was 2,000, maybe it was 2,500, but it sounds to me like they're probably not going to release. I think they're doing pre-orders, but they're probably going to raise the price.
Yeah, I think it's about the icon you can see above your head is our distributor in this country, Pinball Heaven. Funny enough, you talk about the 90 days. They do a 2-year warranty on their new Sterns. So and he foots the bill for that,
You'd have to. We do service calls on non-games. We used to not do it. We used to, like, for instance, excuse me. I've never even seen the inside of a Jetsons. They only made 100 of them. But yesterday, one of my, I guess you could say, a competitor in another state sold a Jetsons to a guy who knows about me but never bought a game from me, about 30 minutes from TNT. He's having a big party, and the Jetsons is broken. And it worked, and then we think it's just a blown fuse and whatever. And you go out and fix it. He's having a big party. We'll pay you. So
the competitor said that to you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've done business with them before.
Sure.
They bought a shuffle alley from me, I think 5 or 6 years ago. Very nice people. The Pinball Company. That's it. Brooke. So anyway, we tried calling the guy, and we got no answer. But this is yesterday, Saturday. His party is Saturday. So Kurt was nearby. He says, Todd, I'm about 15 minutes away. I said, well, just drive there and ring the doorbell. So he drove to the house and rings the doorbell, and the guy opens up the door. The party's going on full session. He apparently got 3 or 4 pinball machines. And Kurt says, yeah, I'm selling vacuum cleaner, and I wanted to give you a demonstration of my new model. Or something like, he said something funny like that. And the guy laughed and brought him right in. He said, oh, you're here to fix the pet. My gosh, you're here. So Kurt went in and found out the fuse was blown. That ran Jetsons has 8 coils of this fuse. And Kurt had never seen the inside of it. I haven't either. But it's a spooky pinball. And unfortunately, everybody's using those little shitty fuses. I hate them. There's rotten, miserable little fuses. Why can't they use the original big ones? There's only 2 sizes of fuses. The right one, the big one, and then there's little crappy ones you can't even see. You can't read the horrible fuses. Well, Kurt went through and moved all the coils, pulled all the connectors, made sure the flash lamps weren't touching anything. Nothing. He put the fuse in. The game came back on. Fine. And now the customer said he tried a fuse and it blew out. We think maybe he put the wrong one in. This one calls for a 3 amp. Now Kurt put a 3 amp in, wiggled everything, banged on everything. It's not much you can do because the game had like no plays on it. It looked as clean as a whistle. You always think though, a flash lamp, the contacts, the tabs on the bottom, they could very easily touch something and blow something out. So he checked everything, clean as a whistle. There's not a whole lot going on the Jetsons, but he tested the coils. He ran through the coil test over and over, put it back together, and then he stayed there and played some games. Of course, the guy says, "Oh, he was thrilled because now his customers could play his new toy. He just got it. He paid thousands of dollars for it." And the guy even gave Kurt a dinner to go.
The party, I was about to say, Kurt probably did well out of that.
It was a local Italian restaurant, a place we love. And these were, I guess, the employees and people that worked there, and they got all their food from that restaurant. So Kurt came back here with a spaghetti and meatball dinner, and he ate it right in front of me.
He didn't bring back one for you then.
No. But the guy was thrilled because we got him going, and I told the pinball company, they said, "Oh, just send us a bill." I said, "No, you buy me a coffee at the next show, and maybe you'll do me a favor if I have a game out in your area. Maybe you can fix it." So we'll see what happens. But they were thrilled too. So he got his Jetsons going right in time for his party. Well, it was about half over, but he still got a chance to play his game. But it's interesting to see the inside of some of these new games. Kurt said, of course, the circuit boards are very small now, and the layout is very clever, and the games seem to be holding up. The Spooky pins seem to be doing very well. Spooky made that wonderful, incredible, one of the best games, certainly the game of the decade, was total nuclear annihilation.
Yes.
They're never going to be able to
totally different game, isn't it, to anything
never
else?
going to be able to top that. That is such a magnificent, wonderful game, and they only made 500 of them.
Is that right?
Yes, 500 of them, and they said they're going to put it back in production, but they're up to their eyeballs in orders for Halloween and Ultraman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Everybody miscalled that. Oh, they're going to make 1,800. Oh, it'll take them 5 years to get rid of them. Took them 2 hours to get rid of them.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's people over here waiting for their waiting for their Halloweens and Ultraman.
Now,
certainly.
I don't know if those games have that trouble because I can't sell England an not an Ultraman. I'm sorry. I don't know about that game, but I can't sell England a Stern Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Wired from the United States. It won't work, and you can't fix it. It's programmed, and the hertz and all this nonsense to convert it to the 240 in England. And people are very upset. And I said, well, no. Stern has distributors then. You got to get it from the England distributor. It's only fair. The guy in England has to pay his bills, and get on the list, grease somebody's palm, get your game.
Can you see prices going up still, increasing, or they plateau?
Well, I didn't predict the banning price increase.
No,
I knew the prices would not drop. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And back then we were still getting 4,500 for roller games, but I didn't anticipate the big jump. But after the banning, it's got to be at its ceiling. I mean, I can see boutique pinballs holding their value forever. That, for instance, the Elvira, the 200 special editions, they're always going to be 25,000.
Yeah,
nobody's going to part with it. 200 is a very small number for the world.
Yeah,
and games like Spooky and Total Nuclear Annihilation, there's only 500 of them. There's only 100 Jetsons. You're never going to be able to buy a Jetsons for 5,000. Never. I think when it was new, it was 6 or 5,500 or something. You're going to pay that forever because there's only 100.
Yeah.
So when games are very low run, there's a man. His name is Charles Thomas. He's a single man. He's a pinball collector. He loves pinball, and he summed it all up. He bought a Magic Girl and paid some crazy price for it. I don't know. Back then, he paid, I think, 20,000, 25,000. Unfinished. It's never going to be finished unless they all chip in and pay the programmer to finish it. 25 of them made. So it would probably be okay for me because I'm a lousy pinball player. But for a guy who can play pinball one game for 25 minutes, he's going to get to the end of the programming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? So I said to him, Charles, why would you buy an unfinished game like Magic Girl for 25,000 when you could have taken that money and bought 4 brand new Pro Sterns or 2 premium, 3 premium? Why? And he said 2 words to me, and my jaw dropped. He said, and I'm quoting Charles, bragging rights.
Sure.
Yeah.
Bragging rights. And my eyebrows went up, and I'm thinking, well, I guess it's true. I have a Magic Girl.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a big bang bar, didn't you?
I did. I had 185 of them.
And you were proud of that. So
you know what? But I loved the game, not for the price. Remember, when I bought it, it was 5,500.
Yeah,
4,500. It was 25. Yes, it was. We gave him it was 4,850. We gave.
Yeah, I think that's right. I was watching a video earlier on.
Plus shipping. And that was the most I ever paid for a brand new pinball. I will tell you that. That's the most I ever paid. But I wanted that game.
How long did you keep it in the end?
Pardon?
How long did you keep it? Because you sold it in the
Oh,
end.
I got it in 2007, 2006, 7, and I sold it maybe 4 years ago for $25,000.
Wow.
And of course now, I mean, home use only, it probably had maybe 800 plays on it.
Okay.
Didn't have many because when I get home at night, it's 10 or 11 at night. I'm not going to run down to the basement and play more pinball.
No.
I was about to say, you're not exactly short of a machine or two, are you?
I got plenty of pinballs here to play. But
What's your favorite game, Todd? I mean, you must have been asked it a lot, so you must.
well,
know.
my number one. All right, people always ask, "What's your
Yeah.
order?" But here's my order. I'm going to give you my 6 best games in my opinion ever made. You ready?
Yeah.
Mm.
Number 1 is Big Bang Bar.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great, just jaw-dropping greatness. There's everything about the game is just terrific. The first to use the luminescent arrows, the twirling figures, which Sopranos copied, the bar at the top with the swivel characters.
Because that's the game that's just got the single ramp, hasn't it? But with a big diverter on it.
But the diverter diverts it to other.
Yeah, it goes everywhere.
It's such a great game. And if Capcom got that baby out, they would still be in business, probably at least a couple more years. But there you go. They released that horrible flipper. Yeah, there it is. They released that horrible flipper football. Oh God, that was awful. And the first game to curse too. My God, I had it in the showroom. I bought a bunch of them on closeout, and somebody said, "Do you know that's saying shoot the effing ball?" And
really,
somebody came in and says the machine's cursing. I said, "Tough, it's not cursing. What do you mean it's cursing?" And I never heard of a game that cursed because they didn't back then, and it was crazy. So I went in there. It's an accent, but it's definitely nothing. Geez, it got it. So, and sure enough, it was the first programmed adult speech.
And you couldn't turn that off because sometimes you could change speech settings.
No, you could turn it off.
Oh, that's okay.
Now the Simpsons down east had family language too at the time.
Oh, okay.
Hers, but anyway, that's number 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, I always varied. I would say Theater of Magic.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Funhouse.
Yeah.
There's Spencer's.
Look,
that's mine.
That's Spencer's Theatre of Magic. That is the.
Yep, there it is. It's such a beautiful work of art with LEDs, and then getting the saw to work because they had to cut the spitting saw, so you get that kit because that was part of the original design. There's so much you can do with that. It's so beautiful. The most beautiful artwork on the sides in the world. So we have Funhouse. Number 4 is Barry Ormsby's Pinbot.
You got it for Pinbot as number 4.
Amazing, wonderful, perfect coordination of everything. Just gorgeous. Especially if you do the blue and red, which he couldn't do. You know, I mean, he couldn't do some things, but now you can. He wanted a blue and red set. Now you can get blue and red LEDs for the displays too, because the machine is distinctively 2 different colors. A beautiful piece of equipment, perfectly designed. So that's where's that up to? Is that 4?
That was 4.
5.
Yeah.
That's 4.
Number 5, you're probably not going to like me, but I just thought this was such a great game. Gottlieb's Class of 1812.
Yeah.
Just what a wonderful game.
Yeah, I've never played it, but I know it. I've seen the back glass so many times.
I saw your video on it actually.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful game. And I kept mine. That's the only pinball I have in my basement. I have a clear coated Class of 1812. And now right behind that is Total Nuclear Annihilation.
Okay.
So there and I just added that, of course, when the game came out.
Because I've got a piece of paper here, and I've got 3 out of 4 of those. That was what I had written down. So yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
I actually have
That's
a
pretty
couple.
good.
As you know, I'm actually working on episode 1683. So I already have
Wow.
published 1,682 videos. There's also a bunch of videos I have up that don't have numbers assigned.
Sure.
But
This was it, because when Chris told me about your channel, I thought, oh yeah, I'll go and check this guy's videos out.
you
Holy
never get
cow!
through them all.
You'd be there
It's
for a
interesting
very long
because
time.
we have people. I've gotten many emails. It's hard to believe so many people. Some person said they kept them sane in their life. They have a high level, a big job that drives them nuts. He gets a lot of money, but he's running ragged, and he watches our videos to calm down. I've had people say they watch the videos. Let's say they're in a security guard hut someplace, and they can watch the videos because just to pass the time. And because if you think about the content, I have hundreds of hours of content.
Yeah.
And you can start a video, you can set it to play them in order or whatever you want to do. But some people, I just got an email from another regular. He said he's going back into harvesting the old videos, the pre-1000 videos. So the videos, he's going backwards now and watching. Of course, they had a different tone back then. I wasn't doing green screen, but they were sort of edited. The earliest videos had virtually no editing at all. As a matter of fact, the first few I used what we call a potato camera, with no zoom or anything, because the videos originally were made not to be shown on YouTube to make money with, but for the customer buying the game. Well, what's it going to look like when you bring it here? Am I going to be happy? So I would film it and say, well, here's what we did. We did this and the other. And one of those videos I made, the initial videos, they weren't numbered at the time, but I made it public by accident. See, there's three listings. There's private, unlisted, public. And for some reason, it went public. And I started getting comments. People saying, wow, this is terrific. Wow. I said, what the hell? Who's watching my... And I realized I was starting to get dozens and dozens of views every couple of hours. I said, my God, the people... because remember, this is 2010.
Yeah.
When I started them. And I said, well, maybe we should just start doing these on a regular basis. I think my first game video was a Atari Hercules. And that was the first one I actually shot specifically to go on YouTube.
I think that, look, I mean, you'll know this by now, but there's a lot of people are there for the machines, and like myself, will find you because they're searching for a Star Trek Next Generation. And I'm sure a lot of people find you that way, but a lot of people will stay for your personality and stay for the way
and the eye pokes.
Absolutely, and to see what people are going to send you in, see what coffees and donuts you get sent. But I think you cross over really well between the technical things, like the tie back in Star Trek Next Generation, where you can learn something technical, but also you entertaining them. And I'm pretty sure in lockdown, you've probably got a lot of messages from people saying, thank you, I'm locked at home. I'm really loving and enjoying your videos.
I do print some of them because my daughters, originally we were going to post stuff. There's no time to do anything because my original idea was to have our website where you could go and you said, you know what, I want to know everything about F-14 Tomcat. And you'd go on my list and you see F-14 Tomcat, and then there'd be a hyperlink to the 20 videos I might have up.
Sure.
It may not be, it may only be in the description, but when you click on the hyperlink, it would take you just to the F-14 Tomcat part of the video. So you didn't have to go through the 30 or 40-minute video to find it. So you could say, well, here's F-14. Here's another example. Here's another one. And then it would jump to whatever format that was going to be. That was going to be in my book, too. I was going to have QR codes in my book that idiot publisher's completely screwed up. He said, you know what he told me? The publisher of the book said, QR codes are not popular and they're going out.
Really?
We consulted with our team and said that nobody has, you have to have an app and nobody's going to use QR codes and all. Went through this whole rigmarole, and that was the end of my QR codes. I had all these links. I said, Here is how you recharge your Gottlieb System 1.
Yeah.
When the display started to dim. What's interesting, the blue fluorescent displays on the Gottlieb System 1 and Gottlieb System 80s, you can fix them in 30 seconds. And all you need is a 9-volt little transformer, and you can zap them yourself, and it burns off the coating that's built up over the years, and your display is bright again. One out of every 10 doesn't hold. One out of 10 displays ends up being bad. But I got this really neat email from a company that said that they had dozens of these scales, big commercial scales in all their different factories, and they loved them. But the displays were dying. They were getting dimmer and dimmer and harder to see. And the company no longer made those glasses. They're Futuba, made by a company called Futuba. Great displays, hardy as hell. And they tried it. They tried one, they took the cover apart, they jumped the 2 end pins. Can't get easier than that, baby. And 30 seconds later, their wonderful display was super bright. And
wow.
Thank you so much. It would have been nice if they sent me a case of coffee.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I did get a nice thank you note. But, there you help somebody that's not even related to the pinball field. But
that's pretty good.
Might as well try, since you can't read the display anyway. But now we revived all these old scales. It's sort of like most of the manufacturing plants here in America, near where I eat breakfast almost every morning at Daddy Pop's Diner, which is about 10 minutes away. And there's a man that comes in, he works at a canning company. All their company makes are Lysol spray cans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they make the base and the round part. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 3 shifts, and they can't keep up. He says most of their equipment was made in the mid-40s.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
The new equipment was made in 59. The new equipment.
Yeah.
They're using now. They've updated it. There's electronics that run them that tell them what to do, but they're using this old equipment that's still running. And he kind of coaxes it. His job is to go down the line and coax the old equipment to work. And
in the world of engineering, my dad was a clockmaker, and he had tooling that was from 1930s, 1940s. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it; it just works.
That's right. And it's built heartily and making thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, still working. Yes, you could get new equipment for $30 million. It's told me the new equipment was $30 million. The company's not going to put $30 million to make Lysol cans, but one day they will if they can't coax the equipment anymore. But,
well, they'll have to if the old stuff finally breaks down. But let's face it, it's probably not going to go anywhere, is it?
Any more questions, gentlemen?
No, listen, Todd, this has been fantastic, and I can't thank you enough.
I hope we get some thumbs up.
We'll get thumbs up, and you know what? Even if there are thumbs down, we can't see them anymore. But they won't be. I'm telling you now, there won't be any thumbs down. We'll definitely do something sneaky with a thumbnail, and I'll do the second one afterwards. But honestly, I can't tell you how much people will be thrilled to see you.
And remember, down below in the description, you'll see my website, right?
Of course you will. Listen, you'll have your website and your channel, but you don't need a leg up from me. I can tell you that now. People know all about you. You're very, very popular over in England.
Well, if I return to England, I'll make sure everybody knows. So my wife and I can just travel around, and you guys will feed me. And
absolutely. Come and stay. Come and stay. We got a big house. Come and use it.
Every town has one great place to eat. There's always a pub, and it's usually called the Red Lion.
Yeah, we got one of those.
We can take you to a Red Lion or two. Yeah, that's for sure. And and if you do, we can. I mean, you're probably pinballed out, but we can show you some of the fantastic pinball clubs we've got over here, and people be thrilled, absolutely thrilled to meet you. But
the only way I can play pinball is if I slide the glass off, baby, and I use my finger. That's
Hey,
how I
listen.
play football.
We know a guy called Andy who you're just going to get on with so well.
Oh, honestly, yeah. You'd really
Hey,
get on.
Andy, see?
You'd really get on well with him. Todd,
He
thank you.
loves taking the
Please,
glass off.
could you just wait in the green room for 2 seconds? I just want to say goodbye to you. Thank you so much. Goodbye to you properly. Spencer, how fantastic was that? Huh?
Lovely to see Todd on. Lovely to see Todd
Yeah,
on. There's a man with some
absolutely.
stories.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I just want to say thank you to everybody for watching. I've got to say thank you to Spencer because I'll be honest. Spencer said, "Have you got a list of people you'd like to get on the channel?" And Todd was my number one. And I'll only say that once. I won't be saying that next time. Honestly. And Spencer went out and he made contact. So thank you very much, Spencer. But it's not a treat for me; it's a treat for everybody because I'm absolutely thrilled to have him on the Chinwag. So listen, please feel free to share this all over social media and on Facebook. And well, Facebook is social media actually. So thank you very much. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Todd.
No
I'll
worries.
see you next time. Until then, thanks for watching.